So we are on a second day of the discussion on concept of soul in Bhagavad Gita, the higher consciousness. The soul is also called the higher consciousness. How do we realize that we have a higher consciousness? That's why know your knower is given as the topic. I'm sure yesterday's discussion, whoever have gone through, what we discussed was to give an intro for the session, introduction to the requirement of Bhagavad Gita probably. How do you become a higher individual? The Maslow's principle talks about the physiological to safety to belongingness to social needs to esteem to self-actualization, which I said it is fivefold development: physical, emotional, intellectual, social and spiritual development. We have discussed what everyone requires is success, happiness, with the purpose of life defined. We could define what is success. If the purpose is not defined, you will not know whether you are successful or not. In a running race, you know 100 meters to run. The distance is not defined and you start making a competition to decide who is the person, the winner. You can never stop and decide the parameter for winning. So always success is defined based on what is the purpose on which you become successful. So in success of life, you should know what is the purpose of life. As human being, we are different from animals because we have the ability to learn, ability to understand, learn from others, get that knowledge into my actions. Ahara nidra bhaya maithunani samani chaitani nranam pashunam Jnanam naranam adhiko vishesho jnanebhihina pashubi samana. Aharam, food. Nidra, which Jayanti is lacking nowadays. Bhayam, everybody has. Some people have more. Ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunani, samani chaitani nranam pashunam. For human being and animal, it is equal. Jnanam naranam adhiko vishesho. Knowledge is extra to human being. So, when you are learned, you know what, how, why, where. So you get more social and more human. There is part of success and there is part of failure in everybody's life. But what is lacking when you become an elderly person at the end of the verge of your life? When the life is going to be end almost, probably from your bachelor life, that is transformed into a life of family, earning, building a part of creating your own family, garhasthyam, and then getting into the higher and higher levels like sannyasam and vanaprastham. You may always think back and see what is that I have done in my life, what impact I made. I worked as a professor. Okay, so what? I got job. There are millions of people who also are working as professors. What is that I have done extra for this world? So it all depends on what is the desire which you have. That's how we connected to Purushartha. I'm sure Bhagavad Gita cannot be learned without understanding these basics. Therefore, different ashrams of life and the purpose along with the Purushartha, which is very common to any individual. When that individual becomes the part of the society, part of the nation, you become a citizen. You transfer from material life to spiritual nature life, but both way you become unhappy because of an imbalanced life. Because people jump from spiritual to material, material to spiritual, because they did not get transformed into that slowly. They took it as a revolutionary activity. They are unhappy here, so went there. They are unhappy in material life, therefore they adapt spiritual life. Therefore, what will happen? Always your intention, desire, karma is on the material life. So in spiritual life, when you become higher, probably there will be people to support you financially also. You will use for your materialistic activities. Therefore, you become a failure both in materialistic and spiritual activity. Therefore, what is that yesterday we were talking about? The golden balance ratio. How do you balance the material and spiritual? That's what we were discussing. So how do you balance the gnanam, knowledge which require for you to balance this and then get into action? Whether you are in spiritual also, it is not closing your eyes and meditating. That's the most stupid job any human being can do. Brahma has given all the ability for us to do karma only. Therefore, closing your eyes and wasting time in the early morning is one of the worst thing what anybody can do. And that is what most of the sannyasis propagate. It is not what is to be done. Get into action. And then get into the highest of the highest positions in your life, so that you can support many people. That is the Raja Yoga. And then do all these with the utmost dedication, thinking that it is not my ability that I am talking like this in front of you. I had great gurus. With their blessings, I could do something in my life. That is why we always keep saying Sadashiva Samarambha, Shankaracharya, and then come to your guru and think all about them, and then say that they are the people who blessed me to do this. Asmat Acharya Paryandam, the last guru who taught me all this. Namaste to all of them. That is what I am supposed to do. So that is with the bhakti. Whatever I am doing is not mine, it is somebody else. Whose is that? That is what we have to understand. I am able to quote Bhagavad Gita because Bhagavad Gita was interpreted by somebody, and somebody interpreted, and many interpretations I learned. So if somebody asks what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, where does Bhagavad Gita start? Is it from chapter number 1, verse number 1 to 18th chapter, I think 78 sloka? Yeah, 78 sloka. Is it the end of Bhagavad Gita? Is a question which people should understand. 78 slokas. Most of the people will say that's how Bhagavad Gita is. No, it's not true. Bhagavad Gita doesn't start, where Bhagavan doesn't start giving Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter at all. First chapter is only the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, in which the Vishadam is being told. The counseling did not start. Every counseling person need to give a ear to the person who has got problem. So where did he start? In the second chapter, the 11th sloka, Bhagavan says, Ashocya nanyashocastvam pratnavatamscha bhashase. At least write down the sloka number so that you will be able to go back and refer. That's what is to be done if you are a student of learning from the classes. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. That is what Bhagavan starts giving lecture. In the second chapter, 11th sloka only. Before that, there could be some scolding and all that. That is to keep quiet. The Arjuna has to surrender to him. After that only, actually the disciple has to, the student has to say, yeah, I am ready to listen. Then the lecture will start. Ashocya nanyashocastvam pratnavadamscha bhashase gadasuna gadasumscha nanushojanti panditaha. So it starts with ashocya. Don't become sad. See, a textbook, a lecture starts with saying that you don't become sad. Don't become upset in your life. So whoever is attending Bhagavad Gita or whoever is listening to Bhagavad Gita, whoever is organizing it should not become sad. Or they are sad, at least at the end of the lecture they must become happy. And where does it end? Bhagavad Gita ends in 18th chapter 66th sloka. And what is the ending? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. You leave all your dharma. Dharma means not the action. Action is different, dharma is different. Don't think. Without thinking you should do. Why? Don't think whether whatever I am saying is correct or not. You will do a correct thing only when you get this knowledge. 18 chapters when you get, whatever you think will be the right thing. That is what it says. When whatever comes to my mind is not correct, buddhi is not correct, whatever comes to my manas is not correct, neither the intelligence or feelings are correct. There is a balance between the intelligence and the feeling. That is what is going to be the correct one. And who decides that? That is the Atma, that is the soul. Therefore, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, don't logically think what you are doing correct or not. But you meant your Atma in such a fashion, it is dedicated to Bhagavan, so that both Buddhi and Manas, the feeling and the intellect also will become equal to Atma. Such people whose intelligence and feeling will not conflict or contradict, they are called Atmiya Purusha. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, one of the best sloka which I like, Uddharet Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadhet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Uddharet Atmanatmanam. Which sloka is that? 6th chapter, 5th sloka. Uddharet Atmanatmanam Atmanam Avasadhet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Who is your enemy? Who is your friend? Your buddhi becomes your enemy. Your manas becomes your enemy sometime. Assume that I do something which I desire to do with the feeling. Yeah, I have to eat ice cream. Who is telling this? My feeling is telling. As soon as I jump into ice cream and then start eating that, then next day I get throat pain. My buddhi will tell me. Who is that me? The inside me, who is in me, who is the knower of me. He will start criticizing. My buddhi will say, I told you last time also you had same problem. The last time you had same problem is stored in your buddhi. But the manas, the feeling says, I want to have ice cream. But the buddhi says, no, you had last time some problem. There will be big conflict. The conflict is the reason for ashochya, dukkham. Therefore, Bhagavan says, don't think about all that. What the manas says, what the buddhi says, don't care. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Come to me. Who is that me? It is not Bhagavan Krishnan. It is the you in you who controls you. Or who is the person who suggests you what is right and wrong. The judge inside you. Who is the judge? It is the Atma. The judge is the Atma, not he is the Atma. It is the Atma because it's an object inside you. Every word which I am using, carefully listen. I am not saying he, the Brahma, he, the Krishna. It, the Atma inside you, who suggests you what is to be done so that you have no conflict whether you are right or wrong. Without conflict, you must be able to take action. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Surrender to me. Aham tva sarva papebhyo. If you do that, you will have no papam. Papam and punyam is only what you think you have. Suppose your job is to kill somebody. When somebody comes on the border, stand there and then kill somebody. After a soldier kills the other soldier from the other country, assume the border is being protected by Indian soldiers, killing the Pakistani soldier, he will not feel bad. Yeah, I killed one person. Because he is doing dharmam. So don't think about the papa punya based on what action you do. Where, when, why, how do you do determines whether it is correct or not. And what you will get? Moksha ishyami. You will get happiness. Moksham is happiness. Happiness by living is moksham. Not after death. After death nobody knows. Moksha ishyami ma shucha. Ma shucha. So the 11th sloka in 2nd chapter starts with ashochya. Don't be sad. And it ends with the 66th sloka in the 18th chapter saying ma shucha. That is the end of Bhagavad Gita. After that, who has to chant, why you should chant, how you should chant, who has to teach, who has to learn, all that is from the rest for the, why the host doesn't want to listen to me or what? Host doesn't want to listen to me, he or she, somebody muted me. So, moksha ishyami mashucha. Don't become sad. You should not become sad because that is not there in your life. Atma doesn't know there is dukkham or sukham. Yesterday we quoted that sloka. That is what is called sthita prajna. The sthita prajna will tell you, you don't have to distinguish between what is sukham and what is dukkham. Dukkheshu anudhiknamana, sukheshu vikataspruha, vida raga bhaya krodha, sthitatir muniruchyate. Yesterday also we quoted this. So, the Sthita Prajna is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. That way also you can tell. So, whenever you chant one sloka, you understand, oh, this is what is Bhagavad Gita. That's how it is. Dukkheshu anudhiknamana, sukheshu vikataspruha, vida raga bhaya krodha, sthitatir muniruchyate. Sloka number 56 in the second chapter. So, whenever you see, I am trying to quote and tell you the essence of Bhagavad Gita, I end up in second chapter or start in second chapter. That's why second chapter is most important. To bring that from violence to silence, from Vishadam, Arjuna Vishada Yogam. The chapter number 1 is Arjuna Vishada Yogam. From that Vishadam, Dukkham, sadness, through, second chapter to 18th chapter if you talk, 17 chapters, almost 600 slokas. Bhagavan takes Arjuna to Moksha Sannyasa Yogam. What is Moksha Sannyasa Yogam? Moksha is happiness. Sannyasam is what? Sannyasam is not having selfishness. Don't call it as detachment. I am doing something not for my benefit. Dr. TPS is giving a lecture today, not thinking that I am not going to get some benefit. Not even a student will respond to me. Sometime I know. But some point of time, sometime in your life, you think that, oh, there was somebody who spoke like this. That's good enough. If that is what you are doing for a social cause, not with some return which you get is not your benefit which you are thinking about, that is called sannyasa. Moksha sannyasa yogam. How can you reach into such a position is what is the higher consciousness, which second chapter is building up through few slokas. It is not the end of it. It's only few slokas because it has been dealt in different Upanishads. The essence is what we have seen. So what does it mean? For the soul, neither the birth or death. For the soul, the past or present or future doesn't mean what? Whether somebody is going to send me a thanks message or not, I don't care. The past, I don't care. I don't care whether I am going to be living tomorrow or not. Bhagavan keep on saying, the soul is not having birth. It doesn't have a material. It is not made up of material. It doesn't have birth, therefore it doesn't have death. It will not die. Whatever you want, you can do against it. It's not a living entity. It is only an energy. So it can only transfer from one form to another form. That is the basic physics principle. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. But I can transform one energy to another energy, which can be seen, which cannot be seen also. Some energy can be seen, some energy cannot be seen. But how do you produce it into a better fashion? Assume that you are passing electricity. Electricity is an energy. It goes into the fan and the fan will start rotating. Suppose the fan is not rotating, still the electricity is going there and getting wasted. Then what do we say? The fan's efficiency is 0. If the fan is working perfectly, we say the fan efficiency is 100%, for which it is manufactured. Under the specific voltage, under the specific rotation per minute, if it is performing well, we will say the fan is working well. Similarly, every human being is defined by their own purpose, their own definition, and say whether that energy comes to me, the soul comes to me, I may work or I may not work. If you have efficiency, it works. If it doesn't have efficiency, it will not work. So what Bhagavad Gita teaches us, every living entity has a soul, and it is not the fan which is important, the rotation and the air movement is what is important. When we talk about a lamp, it is not which carries the oil, which carries the wick, which carries as a stand what we are looking at. We are looking at the deepam. What comes as a light is what we call it as light. That is what is called lamp. The carrying object is unimportant, though sometimes we give more importance to that. Either you do it in a small diya which is made up of mud, or do it in a golden lamp. It doesn't matter. What is important, it has to give you light, which has to give you a spreading fragrance. That is what you look at it. So what is the first teaching of Bhagavad Gita? You have a unique system in which you can transform, not based on the materialistic value adapted to that, but the qualities in you, the eternal quality, the blissfulness, the knowledge what you carry. That makes you a unique individual who doesn't have the desire to become a unique individual who gives a print, a footprint, an image creation. Everybody wants to create an image. The end of the life, what you want, if you ask, I wanted to become a person without envy, hatred, jealousy, distress, enmity, problems, and so on and so forth. I wanted to be a happiest man with all the materialistic life which I have. Don't throw away your materialistic attitude. You must be able to enjoy. So if you look at it, there are a lot of slokas in which Atma keep on coming. 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, 4th chapter, 6th chapter, 7th chapter, 8th chapter, 10th, 13th, 15th, 17th chapters. You keep on looking at the different words, different context it is being explained by Bhagavan, in which 2nd chapter becomes the most strongest, most important. What is 2nd chapter 72 slokas meant for? It meant for 4 different aspects. One is the Arjuna surrendering to Krishna as a disciple. That is up to maybe first 10 slokas. That's why 11th sloka the Krishna's Karma Yoga explanation starts. So up to 38 sloka, 11 to 38, nearly 27 slokas are meant for Karma Yoga. The total slokas are 72, reverse it to 27. 11th sloka it starts, so it's easy to remember. So 11 plus 27, 38, up to 38 sloka is Karma Yoga. Then Jnana Yoga, 39 to approximately 53. That is full of Jnana Yoga. And 54 to 72 is how do you become happy? Mukti, moksha. When somebody becomes a perfect student, his botheration is what the Bhagavan is supposed to take, and then he guarantees there itself that I will take care of you. It is told at the end, but that is also given as a clue in the 2nd chapter itself. So the Arjuna who was in Shokam, in Dukkham, he gets into Sthitaprajna. So what is that moksha which is there in 54 to 72? That's where we got at 56th sloka. Sthitaprajna. Sthitaprajna itself is a happy. That is the Mahatva. Mahatva means great. The greatness of the disciple can be seen there. That is what is most important, and that is why Bhagavad Gita we keep saying, Ma Shucha, don't be sad too. The Sthita Prajna, which is almost like a Samadhi state, being happy, Ma Shucha, that is attained in the 56th sloka itself, in the 2nd chapter itself. That's why 2nd chapter is an abstract. And how do you take this? By explaining what is the super soul, what is Atma, which is more important. In between, Krishna keeps on asking Arjuna, you have to fight because that is one part of your job. So I am not going into the sloka by sloka because it takes too much time. Each sloka by sloka chanting along with me and explaining answers are there on my YouTube. Any point of time, if you don't understand, refer back to me with the sloka number. We can have a one-to-one. So gurus have job for teaching and curing, touching and curing, chanting and curing, taking care of the knowledge part of it, inspiring people, or maybe eliminating the blindness, what you are not able to see, that can be shown. These are all what is being done in the teaching part in Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga by Dr. Krishnan, the Bhagavan Krishnan himself. But he refers that to with what is Sukham, Dukkham, what is uniform for the soul. That is where he says you don't have to bother because it is only a temporary state. Whereas your soul, your Atma, is a continuous process. In 6th and 7th chapter and all, he will tell. It is not end of your life once this Janma is over. Even if you die now, you will continue your karma in the next Janma. Whatever good things you have done will be carried forwarded as a bank balance to you. Like a loan which you take, the credit is seen. So similarly, your next Janma, the credit will be seen. To establish that only, Bhagavan says, the Atma doesn't die because it's a continuous process. And that is why he says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehandara prapta sthita, etc. etc. So what does it say? Dehinosmin yatha dehe, the deha, the body, changes its form from kaumaram, yavvanam, etc. Which is that sloka? I think it is 13th sloka. Kaumaram yavvanam jara. Yes, 13th sloka. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara yatha dehandara praptam prapti. Dehandara prapti. Keep on changing. The body keeps on changing. Dhiras tatrana muhyati. Nothing will happen, so don't be worried. Dhira. Be dhira. Ashucha. Mashucha. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. What is the opposite antonym for that? Dhira. Be courageous. You don't have to worry. So, building up the background for making Arjuna to understand, not after death, even during the life itself, your different stages of life of changing from Yavvanam, Kaumaram, Yavvanam, Jara, the childhood to adulthood to the old age, that is only a transformation. Similarly, the transformation continues after death also. That's what he says. So the eternal body, the Atma, the soul, keeps changing its style when it is alive in different form. Similarly, after death also, it will come back to its different body. It's not, nothing is yours. Because in our biology also says in our body, not even a cell is existing, which was existing 7 years back. See what a style in which it has been explained there. So the evolution, the change in the body, what is happening into our cell, how does it change is what is being explained here. So this is a biology, microbiology, DNA pattern. The life doesn't exist, the cell doesn't have a longer life. And that is what is being told. And then the building up of understanding the character, understanding this. One word which probably second chapter keep on talking, though it starts with Mashucha, Ashucha, but it keeps on telling in the middle, Sama Dukkha Sukham Dhiram. Dukkham and Sukham has to be considered as equal because he has to build up in the 15th sloka, 56th sloka, Sthita Pratna. The building up happens in the 15th sloka itself. Second chapter, 15th sloka. Sama Dukkha Sukham Dhiram. Third line, I think, yeah. It's the third line. Sama Dukkha Sukham Dhiram. So, Amrutattvaya Kalpade. Such people who consider Sukham Dukkham is equal and be bold, what will happen? Their life will become Amrtatvam. Mridam is not there. Death is not there. They will become not having death. They will live longer. See, this is where the base is being kept. There is something in you, not the body which, the cell which is lost its life every 7 years. Every part. My body has got a cell in my eye and my ear, but it doesn't stay there. But still my ability, the sound which I am producing, even somebody who listened to me 20 years back and today will tell me, not even by seeing the sound itself is good enough. Yeah, this is Dr. TPS. See how the sound is coming. Sound is not coming with the cell, not the body. It is the energy within me what is producing the sound. What is that energy? Ask a question. And that energy is the Dhiram. That is my energy, that is my courage, for which Dukkham Sukham is not there, because it has no feeling, it has no thoughts. So what is in me which you are recognizing as Dr. TPS is not my Sukham, my Dukkham, my profession, my materialistic life, that sound which comes from me. And who is producing that sound? Is it the body producing? No, it's not the body who is producing. So who is producing? The energy inside me. And that energy is the life force energy. Who is directing that life force energy? And that is, so Amrutatvaya Kalpate. Consider that as which doesn't have death. Amrutam inside you, continues inside you. What a great way of teaching. Probably if somebody has to learn how to write a thesis, you have to take Bhagavad Gita. Because abstract is given first, then objective is defined, then take it with a methodology. At the end, what is the conclusion and discussion? That is what 18th chapter is. So what here Bhagavan says, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satha, ubayora vidrushtuandva. Now, you don't have to worry. What is existing in you with no endurance, which is eternal, and no end or no start, that is there inside you which can understand the truth. How can we see the truth? Tattva darshibhihi. They become tattvadarshis. What is tattvadarshi? Tattvam. What is peaceful? What is eternal? What is acceptable to most of the people? Sloka number 16. I think it is 16. Yeah. The sloka number 16 will tell you what is tattvadarshi. Right? So I'm skipping slokas in between and then taking you through some of the slokas which I just marked and kept some tags here. Na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satha upayorapi drishtwanda tannasto tattvadarshibhihi. So it's beautiful. Now, having told that the Tattva Darshanam is possible. Tattva Darshanam means you must know what is right, what is wrong. That means your Manas and Atma and Buddhi and all are working perfectly well. Now 17th sloka, Bhagavan actually tells you that is not your Buddhi and Manas which divides this and then tell you what is to be done, what is not to be done. That is what the 17th sloka, one of the most beautiful slokas. Avinashidu tadvidhi. 17th sloka. Avinashidu tadvidhi, that doesn't have nasham. Nasham is death, which will not be destroyed, which cannot be destroyed, indestructible. Avinashidu tadvidhi, that which cannot be destroyed. Yene sarvamidam tatam, that is what is deciding everything. Avinasham avyayasya, that which cannot be destroyed, that decides everything, and that works how? Na kaschit kartum arhasi. But that doesn't need to do any actions also, because it doesn't have a death, it doesn't have a birth, it doesn't worry about the progress or development, it doesn't worry about materialistic life. Therefore, it doesn't work at all. Do your Atma works or the Manas works? Manas and Buddhi works. But the Manas and Buddhi is not to be controlled by itself, it is to be controlled by Atma. So it's like Bhagavan Krishnan is driving the chariot for Arjuna. For each one of us, the Atma which is within us must drive all our Panchendriyas. What is Pancha Pandava symbolically in Mahabharata? Pancha Pandavas are different sense organs. And who is the chariot who is controlling? The Atma who is controlling. But for each one of us who is controlling our Indriyas, who is asking me to see there, not to see there, to hear something, not to hear something, like somebody, doesn't like somebody, somebody's music is good, somebody's music is not good. Who is telling this? That's our Manas. So what Bhagavan says, the control from the Manas has to be shifted to the Atma so that you will be able to do everything without any distortion. What Bhagavan says as it is, you will keep doing. Then you are a pure Bhakta. That stage is what you are supposed to reach. To reach that, actually that soul doesn't do any job. But that will be a guide for all the manas and the buddhi. In fact, that is what is going to control your indriyas. Andavanda ime deha. The next one, 17th, is over. 18th one. Andavanda ime deha nityasyukta sharirina anashino aprameyasya tasmat yudhvas swabharataha. This is where probably Bhagavan is asking to fight. Tasmat udhvaswa, for what? Get up. Therefore, get up. For what? To fight. Bharata means Arjuna. Bharata is Arjuna. Bharataputra, the Bharata Vamsha, the person who is going to control this, because in the whole Pancha Pandavas, Arjuna is the most important person who was responsible for the winning of the war. So he says, Tasmat Udhvaswa, get up. Why you have to get up? Because Anashino Aprameyasya. Therefore, nothing is going to happen. You are an eternal person. Even if your body dies, don't worry. Because the body is only embodying the soul. The soul is embodied inside your body. Therefore, the soul is more important, not the body. So what will happen if you fight? You may die. That is what Arjuna told. Sometime I may die, then what will happen? All the soldiers will die. Therefore, what will happen? There will be a lot of problems. He says, even if you die, if everybody dies, no problem. Nothing is going to change. Because Atma is not changing. Atma is not going to die. Come out of your that mashucha. Iti kartavya mudhada. The second chapter, 7th sleka. Karpanya doshopa hataswabhava. I am confused what I am supposed to do. Therefore, Krishna, I am surrendering to you. That is what a sad person will have. I don't know what to be done. Most of the people who come to me for counseling, they are confused. Not that they don't know what is to be done. They have 1 way, 2 way, 3 way, 4 way. They don't know which way to go. Because there are a lot of advisors. They will tell you this is what is to be done. Father will tell you, mother will tell you, boyfriend will tell you, girlfriend will tell you, neighbors will tell you, everybody will tell you many things. You don't know what is to be done. That's called idakartavyava mudata. That is what Arjuna had. What is to be done? I have got my side people and opposite people. What should I do? So the answer for that is you have to do your job, surrendering to Bhagavan. Look at your Atma and decide what is to be done. Because Atma knows not this Janma at the present moment. It knows for longer life. Many people will tell you, I will tell you, you should do this because not good for you, maybe trouble for you, you will have to suffer a lot, but later it will be good. Who knows later? My Atma knows. Why? Because Atma is going to be longer time with you, not this life alone. Next life also it is with you. So what is to be done? You have to educate your Atma. Can you educate your Atma? No, there is nothing called educating Atma. You have to open your Atma and then get that energy from God so that your Atma is enlightened. That is what is enlightenment. You have to give that light. Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha Tat Savidur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Everywhere the light is given. Where it is not given, Diyo Yo Naha Prajotayat. Inside me you have not given light. Where is that inside? Hridaya Guhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. Inside my Hridaya there is a Atma which is giving you the life. Once that is gone, people will say, that person left. What does it mean? He left. What does it mean? He died. How do I say he died? Is my Atma goes? That is where your body is not there. The Atma will vacate this place. How do I know where is my Atma, which is part of my body is very close to that? Aurobindo has done a great research on this. Which part of my body is close to me is what he wanted you to identify. Take your finger and then see whether this part of my body is closer to me, this part of my body is closer to me, this part of my body is closer to me, this part of my body is closer to me. Keep on touching your body and then you will find you will reach one place close to your Hridayam. In between the chest you will say, I am close to this. That's why we keep saying Atma. And that Atma has got a densified, codified, condensed version of like a thumb in nature. That's why it is in the center. That is what the light of your energy. That is what is being called as Atma. When the Atma goes, the prana goes, the Atma will go. But then it is not dying. It goes and then identifies some place or stays somewhere else. So what is to be done? The 19th and 20th sloka is also important. That says, what is the 19th sloka says? The 19th and 20th sloka in the second chapter. I don't know how many of you have the textbook with you. Ya enam vettihandaram yes chainam manyate hatam. The Atma or the soul cannot be manyate hatam. You cannot kill that. Ubhau tauna vijanito nayam handina handyate. Nothing can destroy it. Truly, nothing can destroy it. You cannot kill that. There is nothing which in the world, which what is available, which can destroy the Atma. In Bhagavad Gita, almost all the slokas have got the similar pattern. But only this sloka is an Ubajadi, different jadi. The next sloka, 20th sloka. Na jayate mriyate va katachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaham ajo nityaha shashvato tayam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It is not destroyed even when the body is destroyed. Like the pot contains water, the pot is broken, the water is not broken. The water will go from there. That's it. Where does it go? It depends on where are you breaking the pot. Suppose you are breaking in front of another pot, that whole water will go into the another pot, or probably some water will go here and there, but then the major portion will go. Similarly, you may have a next Janma where all your Atma will get surrendered or transformed to that. So this 19-20 slokas, 17, 18, 19, 20 slokas is where actually Bhagavan talks about the concept of soul very, very decisively to understand what is the characteristic of a soul. Then the next slokas are about the actual Jnanam, Sankhya Yoga. After doing this, Bhagavan jumps into the changes. Before that, 22nd sloka is also important. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnani naroparani yatha sharirani vihaya jirnani nitya anyani samyadi navani dehi anyani samyadi navani dehi. The body which keeps on transferring from one after death, what will happen? It goes from that degeneration starts for the body as soon as I die. How the degeneration is happening? Because every cell is entirely different, one to one. But then that one to one different prana which is inside the cell makes those cells to look like attached. Actually, there is no attachment, there is no bondage, there is no chemical bonding between the cell to cell. All of them are separate. But there is a consciousness within us which says, each cell is part of my body, it should not go away. That consciousness is the super consciousness which we call as the Atma. That's why the aura concept. Annamaya Kosham is only material. Pranamaya Kosham, the prana is the Fevicol body. How do you realize it? I keep saying, assume that you take a body, me, and then put in a Fevicol and then dip it and then take it out. And you will see a coat of Fevicol around me, which will make none of my material from my body goes outside. That is called prana. So it is closely attached to the body, but it doesn't go inside my body. So each material has got a prana, but then outside there is a coverage which is like a coating, which is like a shell within which I am staying. That is prana. But Anna prana is not good enough. Annamaya, pranamaya, manonmaya. It has to be supported by manas. because I have to interact with the outside world. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonmaya, Vijnanamaya. Why do I do this interaction with the rest of the world? Because I want to learn Vijnanam. Vijnanam is essential, though Vijnanamaya Kosha. What do I get when I get knowledge? Nothing. It's Anandam, happiness. Some people get salary, they become Anandam. But getting Jnanam itself is Anandam, is the highest level. So you understand that I am getting some knowledge, so I am happy. If you are doing it for your, again, salary is for your materialistic life, then that is not the highest level of knowledge. That's why it is called Savidya and Avidya. The Savidya is what gives you that feeling of greatness. Avidya is what you get for your materialistic world. So understand what is that Jnanam which you get is what the Sankhya Yogam describes. For what purpose will be one question which you have. And that question is being answered here. Yeah. Some question came here. Sir, 15 slok is important. Is it important? Yeah. The 15th sloka is important, probably, yes. Yam hina vidyayadyande purusham purushorshabha samadukha sukham dhiram so amrutattvaya kalpate. I think I referred it. Actually, that is what is the Purusham, the Purushottamam, the sloka which talks about what is Purusham, what is greatness for a Purusha doesn't mean the male and female. That is misinterpreted. Here, what makes your life greater is Purusharshabha, Samadukka Sukham Dhiram. That makes somebody as most courageous person. And that identification that you are dependent on you is what is self-dependence. Being independent. Discover yourself, your dharma, your artha, your kama. That makes you dhira. That makes you actual Purusha. That makes you independent. So you jump from the lower self to the higher self. So what you will have in the lower self, you will have ahankara. That will go into Sakshi mode. What is Sakshi mode? I am only a person who is doing some job because I am asked to do with the blessings of my Guru. So I am only a tool which is doing this job. That's what you should understand. Live the religious lifestyle and then get into doing the duty. That is the lower life. What is the higher life? You discover peace inside you and security and happiness inside you, so that any action when you do, you are into a higher level. So there is an experiencing person who is a experiencer, and there is an experienced person who is within you. So what is soul? Soul is the experienced person. What is you inside you? That is the experiencer, which is living with the world outside. That is what is the difference which you should understand, and that is what is being explained by Bhagavan in the Jnana. There is a lower self and a higher self. There is an experiencing person and an experienced person. There is a subject and an object. There is dark and drishyam. There is seer and seen. There is a spirit and a body. There is a higher level and a matter. There is a higher level and a soul. Which one you wanted to catch? What is that you want to understand? So daily keep your mind and body to sleep, thinking that there is a Chaitanyam within you, there is a spirit within you, that you need to be taken out to experience whatever I am doing in a higher level. And that is what the 20th sloka also is explained. I am sure there are a lot of slokas in which this keeps on coming, but I just picked up something. That is why I said, Na jayate mriyate va kathachit na yam bhutva bhavita na va na bhuyaha ajo nityashashvato yam purana na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It doesn't get any effect. It's a beautiful sloka. He is not born. He doesn't have to die because he has not taken birth. After having been in this world and you don't exist, is not there because you are unborn. There is no challenges for your life. So why do you worry about yourself? You cannot be killed. Therefore, you have to be courageous. Therefore, answer is Ashochya, Nashucham. don't become sad. That is what? How? That is like somebody is changing the dress every now and then. That is what Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnani daro bharani yatha sharirani vihaya jirnadi anyani samyadi navani dehi. This is also Upajati. Same sloka in the same style, same tune. The tune is different, right? As a person shells whatever dress ornaments he wears, after when he is sweat, when he is tired, he removes it and then keeps it, and next day he takes a different cloth and wears. Similarly, the Atma will change the body once the duty is over for the day. So 22nd is over, 23rd and 24th, no weapon can do something. No fire can burn. Nothing can happen to your soul. That is what he explains. It's unbreakable, insoluble. Inside water also it cannot be diluted. You cannot even burn in the fire. You cannot put in water or fire. No wind can take it because it doesn't have to move. Right? So those slokas, that explains what is the nature. What is the nature? Now having explained the what is existing and how is it existing, you wanted to visualize it, he is explaining here. Sloka number 23 and 24. Because the concept of soul, super consciousness, the higher consciousness can be understood by 23rd and 24th sloka. That's also very powerful. Nainam chindandi shastrani. No shastram, no weapon can cut into pieces. Nainam dahati pavakaha. No fire can dahati, fire it. Na chainam kledayandyapo. No water can dilute it. Na shoshayati marudaha. It cannot be taken away from you by a wind. It cannot go out of you. So don't have to worry. It will be there inside you as long as the body supports it. After that, it will find its own body when it has to. When it has to. Not necessarily soon after death. Okay? And 24th sloka. Achedyo ayama dahyetayam. I am chanting it very carefully because many people chant it wrong. There is a small symbol F written. That F stands for A. If you have textbook, you will understand. Achedyo. It cannot be cut into pieces. Chedam. Chedam is piece. Ayamadahyetayam aklibhyo ashoshya evacha nitya sarvagatasthanu ajalo ayam sanatanaha. Actually, it should not be chanted like this. Ajalo ayam sanatanaha is enough. But I want you to understand there is ayam. That ayam is Atma. Ayam, that, this. Wherever in Bhagavad Gita, the word ayam comes. Only M will be written, but before that there will be an F. So ayam. Sthanu ajaloyam. Ajalo ayam sanatanaha. Sanatanam, sanatana dharmam. What is sanatanam? Which is latest and the oldest. Chirapuratanam, nityanutanam. Ever existing. That is what is ever existing. So 24th sloka gives the characteristics of soul. What a beautiful sloka is this. Achedyo ayamadahyoyam aklebhyo ashoshya evacha nitya sarvagatasthanu ajaloyam sanatanaha. Which is sanatanam. That soul is sanatanam, unbreakable. You cannot destroy it. It can neither be dampened nor be fired. It cannot be dried because it cannot be dampened. So what is to be done? It is everlasting. Understand that in all places, unalterable, immutable, primordial, the primordial, the greatest, which exists in the prime position, prime primordial, the prime position, the highest level. That is the consciousness which you have to understand as the soul. It's the greatest of the greatest slokas which you are listening. Great. So these are the slokas which are essentially has to be understood if you want to understand the soul concept in Bhagavad Gita. Understand what is the purpose. The purpose is the three sadhanas are required to understand what is this in the yoga. That will be Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Then keep on doing it. I am sure you will realize your own inner self. And then what will happen to you? That is where the 25th sloka comes. Avyakto. Avyakto. It is not clear for many people. Yes. Avyakto. Ayama. Ajindo ayam. Avikaryo. Ayamuchyate. You will reach that. You will understand that. You will be able to realize that. That means I am. Avyakto, which is not clear for you. I am achindyo, I am, you cannot even think about it. That avikaryo, which doesn't have feeling. So intellectually you cannot understand, emotionally you cannot understand. What is the method to understand? That is where intellect and feeling doesn't understand, that is where bhakti comes. So these portion, 25th sloka is what is explained in the Bhakti Yoga later. Ayam uchyate, that raises you to higher level. Uchyate, that is the soul, unchangeable one. What takes you to the higher level? Therefore, what is to be done? Tad, tasmadevam, tasmat, therefore, evam, viditvenam, understand that, viditvenam, nanu shochitum arhasi. You don't have to worry about it. I told you in the 18th chapter, 56th sloka, Ma Shucha will come. Starting from 2nd chapter, 11th sloka, Ashochya. And here, 2nd chapter, 25th sloka, again Bhagavan says, Nanu shochitum arhasi. It doesn't deserve to be unhappy. The sadness doesn't have to be there. You don't have to worry. Dr. Jayanti, don't get worried. Your tired body is only tired. Your Atma is not tired. So keep on pushing yourself. Adhachainam nityajadam nityam va manyase mrutam tadha vitvam mahabaho naivam shojitum arhasi. 26th sloka, again Bhagavan says, Naivam shojitum arhasi. Don't become sad. Why? Adhachainam nityajadam. It doesn't take birth. Nityam jadam. Every day it is living. Nityam va manyase mrutam. It doesn't have any effect. And the names in Bhagavad Gita being called by Krishna, hey Arjuna, no. Here each terminology what he uses, each word what he uses, the simile, the synonyms which are being used. Tatha vitvam mahabaho. A great bahu man, the man with the great power in hands. Nainam shojitum arhasi. Don't become sad. Why you should not become sad? It is though you have a great powerful hand, the body is strong, that doesn't make you strong. What makes you strong? Atha chainam nityajadam nityam va manase mrutam. The manas in mrutavastha, which is almost in the death style, which will not show you what is to be done. You have to lift it up. That lifting up is what is happening. Uddharet atmanatmanam atmanam avasa. The atma has to be lifted up. Where? To the manas level, to the buddhi level. So that buddhi, manas, atma is not three different entities. All of them will work together. Like a government is a system in which you cannot identify. You cannot ask where is government. Prime Minister is the government? No. He alone can become government. President is the government? No. Are the employers the government? No. Everything together is government. But if there is a conflict between all of them, there will be chaos. Similarly, there are different indriyas being controlled by manas. There is a logical thinking which happens by buddhi, who has to be controlled by the unentity, non-entity, which doesn't, government may change, prime ministers may change, but government is existing throughout. After one government goes to the next government, no government change. Policies may change. So it is like Atma is like a government which are transferred from the power is being transferred. So Mahabaho, you are powerful, but you are not powerful. After some time you will go. But who will exist? The Prime Minister will go, but government will exist. Similarly, the body will go, but still your prana will exist. Once you realize that, what will happen? You will not have fear. Shojitum arhasi. Wherever shojitum arhasi, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry is there. Look at it internally in the sloka, you will see the soul concept is being explained. Because only when we know that there is something in us which cannot be destroyed by anybody, we will become so courageous. So what is dhairyam in us? No fear. Who is fearing? You are fearing because you are fearing death. You are fearing tiredness. You are fearing there is some fame will go. My knowledge will go. Money will go. Nothing will go because nothing matters. It will come back. You have created, not that somebody has created. Even somebody has given you, nothing is going to go because it is not from you. So, 30th sloka. Again, beautiful sloka. Maybe after 26th, 30th sloka is important. Don't ask me why am I jumping because time is running fast, right? So, I must give a coverage for you. And then probably if you want, if you are interested, probably you will come back to me or look at my video. Dehi, Nityamadha, Dehi, the body, Nityama, Vadhyoyam, Dehe, Sarvasya Bharata. What is important in that? Dehe. The soul is important. Not the body is important. The soul, Dehi. The soul is important. Dehe. Body is not important. Dehi, Nityam. What is permanently there? Dehi, soul is permanent. Dehe sarvasya bharadaha. People think that Dehe sarvasya bharadaha. Body is important. That is what many people think. Tasmat sarvani bhudani. Therefore, many people will live with their body alone. Natvam shochidumarhasi. You don't have to worry about it because it doesn't stay with you after a long time. This is a beautiful sloka. Sloka number 30 is so beautiful, right? Dehi nityamavadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharadaha tasmat sarvani budani natvam shochidumarhasi. Now 31 sloka. Swadharmam avichavechya. Swadharmam avichavechya. Swadharmam. What is my dharmam? My dharmam is not to be seen from my body. What is interesting for me? Look at what is good for many other people. Therefore, swadharmam avichavechya na vigambidumarhasi dharmadhi yuddhat sreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyayade. What is good for you is what is that you are supposed to do for making not your life, others' life important. That activity becomes your karma. So be into the selfless karma without bondage. That is what is practical life which Sankhya Yogam defines. So once you are created, then you are supposed to get into that. That is where building up the main sloka of Bhagavad Gita. These are all the base sloka to tell that karma is important. So in 47th sloka, which everybody knows, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma bhaleshu kadajana ma karma phalahe durbhur ma de sangostva karmani. But that doesn't mean don't take salary after doing job. You should not get the phalam. Phalam is not salary for the job which you are doing. Why? Because the job which you are doing is not considered as karma. Because you are doing it for a purpose. Because you are appointed there. That is not called karma. What is karma? You are eating, you are cooking, you are doing all that. May people will say my karma. No, that is not considered. Studying is not a karma of a student. What you do extra for somebody else for general benefit. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Such activity when I do, this is not what is expected from Dr. TPS. I am doing it as a social service. When I am doing this as a social service, that is called karma. Therefore, if it is to be considered as a karma, in my account, what I am supposed to do? I am not supposed to take any benefit from you. That's why I don't take any benefit from anyone. Ma phaleshu kadhachana. Therefore, I am not looking at any benefit. How am I doing it? I am surrendering to Bhagavan. I am surrendering to people. Who are the Bhagavan? Each one of you who are listening to me. It is not somebody who is in a temple or who is framed and kept in my puja room. No. Ena kena prakarena yasya kasyapi dehinaha sandosham janayat pratna tadaivam ishvara pujanam. Those people who are making some benefit out of it and happiness out of it. And that serving is what is called a Ishvara Pujanam. That Ishvara Puja is serving my own Atma within me so that at the end of the day, I feel, yeah, happy. I've done a great job today. It is not the material benefit. It is the spiritual benefit. That is called a Sakama, material benefit. Nishkama. So what is the spirit soul inside you longing for? Nishkama karma. For which what is that you require? Chitta Shuddhi. Adhyatma Samskara. So what is Bhagavad Gita's essence? Nishkama karma, Chitta Shuddhi, and which also has to be tell you that what is Adhyatma Samskara. That is what is essential part of Bhagavad Gita. So karma has to be done for material benefit and spiritual benefit. When you do for spiritual benefit, the 47th sloka is justified. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalehe durbhur ma de sangosta karmani. For whom? Those who are into spiritual benefit. Nishkama karma. Therefore, when somebody feels happy, it is a benefit. What is the benefit? In you there is a happiness, therefore I am deriving happiness. So that happiness is the benefit, not a material benefit. So don't tell there is no benefit for my job. Benefit is there. What is the benefit? Assume that I am serving a plate of food to somebody who is standing and then I felt that he needs food, I am giving it. Immediately he is throwing it. What will happen? I am 100% sure I will feel unhappy. Anyway, you have given, why you should bother what he does? You cannot ask this. Because I derive happiness by seeing happiness in him. Suppose somebody is attending lecture, he is listening, definitely your response is a benefit of happiness to me. And that happiness is what is the Nishkama Karma happiness. What is that? It gives me a thread of action. Which I feel that, yeah, this is what. Not everybody will do. Out of 90, 100 people here, 2 people does it. That's good enough. I'm so happy yesterday. I messaged to Sastika that I did not give you a chance to introduce me. Sorry for that. Immediately she said, I had a question. I was so happy that the question I had in the beginning, it was answered by this lecture itself. So I did not ask question. That's a great thing. But telling that not with my message, telling that without my message is what is making you and me happy later part in your life. So there are Nishkama Karma which is to be done in a different style. That in which serving people is also part of it. That is called a Pitru Karma, Deva Karma, Brahma Karma, Manushya Karma, Bhuta Karma, the Panchamaha Yoga, Panchamaha Yatna. See, Bhagavad Gita's beauty is if you can expand it well, all scriptures, what is defined in Sanatana Dharma can be seen inside Bhagavad Gita with some connection. So, Nishkama Karma, when Bhagavan explains, Pancha Maha Yatna has to be understood. So, I am sure this is where we have to expand and keep on going, explaining this, right? So, second chapter, 48th sloka, the Sangam Tukta. How do you do that? Sangam Tukta, without having bondage. Sangam is not attachment, bondage. Sangam is not attachment, it is bondage. Sangam Tukta, not detached, without having any bondage. Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Second chapter, 48th sloka. Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. Raise yourself to the higher level. That yoga is what Bhagavan wants with the activity which we want. Then you become an experienced soul and all your rituals and karma will become part of it. You can see a lot of reference in the 5th chapter, 6th chapter, 17th chapter. Up to 17th chapter you will see. I know that Simran appeared means it is the bell for me to stop. Right? So you can be wise or ignorant. I am wise, I am not ignorant. If somebody is ignoring you, they are not wise. Right? I can go on and on, but I know there are your own restrictions for that. I will call this a day. But the last sloka, 72nd sloka, last one, Brahma Nirvana Muchyati. Brahma Nirvanam. You get into that level which I was telling all the time. The Hridaya, Guhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. There you will reach and then you will get to Nirvanam. That is what is Samadhi. Not that these, some of the people will sell you meditation with some payment of, that will not help you. Learn Bhagavad Gita internally. Understand that. That is where you will get. And if you have any doubt, 9447437948. Get back to me anytime at your service. So thank you for the opportunity given, Dr. Jayanti and Department of Philosophy and especially Principal Swati Pal and sponsored by ICPR. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, you can ask. I don't think there are any questions on the chat box. So if anyone wants to volunteer and question, you may ask.
Don't question. Ask questions.
Okay, sir. Ask questions.
English is a donkey's language. When you don't use it carefully, you will make a different meaning.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if somebody has got guts, question me. So Simran wanted to challenge me or what? You're a good girl. How can you challenge me like this?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir.
Mekha, good afternoon.
Sir, I would like to ask a question.
Yeah.
Sir, how to attain moksha or the cycle of birth and death?
No, it is not a cycle of birth and death. I have written it is every day what happiness which I get is my moksha. See, when I have a kama, a desire, when I have something to achieve, I need dhanam. So we say kama, artha. When I do it in the dharmic style, with all the wisdom which I have, without leaving my value system, I adhere to the value and do something. What do I derive? I derive happiness. That ultimate result of what I am doing to achieve my normal desire without hurting anybody, and that karma which I do helps somebody else. Now I have a desire to give lecture. If I am overrunning with the time and then disturbing somebody, scolding everybody, then it is not dharmic. If I am making somebody happy, that is dharmic. When I do that, you also feel happy, I also feel happy. That happiness is moksha mekha.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Read my poetry in which I have written what is Janma and what is Punarjanma. Is it after to get or not? Life of love. There is a poetry. You go to my website www.drtps, put my number and then type it Dr. TPS. DR for doctor, TPS. Temperature, pressure, second, top police service, teachers, parents and students. TPS stands for teachers, parents and students. These are the three concerns I have. So don't forget my name. Just search it. I am sure you will reach them.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Is there desire necessary for moksha? Definitely, if I want to have a happiness, I must have some desire somewhere, right? If I don't feel thirsty, somebody gives me water, will I feel happy? Suppose I am not having any desire to drink water, somebody gives me water, it will become a difficulty, no? Though I am enjoying lecture, you are not enjoying, what will happen? You are not in moksha, I am in moksha. So moksha is what your manas decides. So desire is essential. Without desire, there is no human being. There is no life. Even a plant has got a desire to grow. If it doesn't have a desire to grow, will it grow? It doesn't. So desire is part of every living being, not a human being, animal alone. Every living being has got. How to open our Atma, sir? Satsangam. Be with Atmiya Purusha, you will become an Atmiya Purusha. In Northeast Vivekananda Kendra Vidyalayas, I used to go and give workshops, 3 days, 10 days workshops to different schools in colleges. And my topic was enlightenment. So people asked, if you attend this workshop, will you get enlightened? Yeah, enlightenment has got different aspect. One of the aspect is probably you need to now what is that as the people who are in brahmacharya. You are all brahmacharis, correct? Bachelor student. Bachelor means brahmachari. You are all bachelor students. BA philosophy means Bachelor of Arts, brahmachari in arts. So you are all brahmacharis. What is your happiness? What gives your Atma happiness? Learning perfectly well. But why are you not learning perfectly well? Because your teachers are not doing it well. That's it. But I'm sure good teachers will make your life happy, enjoyable. I enjoyed my life when I was a bachelor. In class, mathematics, BSc, I enjoyed. That's why even today my teachers are in contact with me. Even this lecture, when I post, she will listen. There are few teachers who are wonderful teachers. I have got teachers who are in contact with me 40 years, 50 years. And they will still tell me that, I am so glad that you are my student and you are giving lecture. You still remember me like this. So those pictures are there in our manas. How do we remember them? Because they made a difference to you. That is what your happiness. I am only reading some questions from the chat box and answering. How can you open up Atma means be with those people who are all acharyas. Yadyadacharadisrashta tattadevetarojana sayat pramanam gurude lokastadanuvartade. You wanted to follow somebody and then say that following him you will become part of it. It's like a magnet and an iron. How do iron becomes a magnet? Keep on rubbing for some time. That iron also will become magnet. So the magnetism is changed. That is with a lot of conduction. Conduction is the touching. You should have the touching of the person. You should always have the touching. Blessings, keep together. That is how I also got. I kept on traveling with my guru, followed him, asked a lot of questions, went to Kailash with him, from Kerala to Kailash. Not a small joke, no? So go around that, understand, live with him, sleep in his own bed, his bed. That's how we learned. How fear make obstacles to attain moksha. See, fear is that which makes you not to do actions. The same fear can be converted into. Tell me, what is that conversion? Fear can be converted into thrilling experience. The thrilling experience of going in a giant wheel for somebody. For somebody else, it's a fearful action. So how do you convert the fear into moksha? It becomes thrilling, adventurous. Suppose you want to go for mountain climbing. And then that becomes an adventurous job. You want to swim in the deep pool. Becomes adventurous. But for which what you require? You need jnanam, skill. Suppose you wanted to enjoy that jumping into water, but you don't know swimming and jumping, what will happen? That will be the last moksha. Otherwise, you can come back and seashore and then enjoy. That is moksha. So how do you, how the fear becomes an obstacle? Yeah, I want to swim. Neither you learn swimming, nor you have the courage to jump into water, nor you wanted to touch water, and then still you wanted to happiness. That will not happen. So the fear is a big obstacle for moksha. I wanted to meet my guru. I did not resist. I kept going and then meeting them, spending time. I wanted to meet. Let guru come to my house. Then I will meet. What a courage is this? So two things are biggest trouble for people. Fear, laziness. Either some people are fearful, some people are lazy. Moksha, beyond peace time, beyond space and time, 100%. Because I don't care whether the swimming pool is in Hyderabad or Delhi. If there is a better swimming pool in Delhi, I will come there and jump. If I am a person who likes to swim, I will do that. Suppose I want to eat noodles, I will go to China and eat noodles because Chinese people are the real people who makes best noodles. Suppose what is the desire which I have, for which I will have to go without waiting. No waiting. Therefore, time is not a factor. Space is not a factor. Good question. Love you. All these people are very good. Moksha beyond space and time. Yes, it is beyond space and time. Answer is yes. I just wanted to. Yes is the question. In answer examination, you can write yes. But don't write yes and stop. Philosophy people should confuse so much, writing so much so that nobody understands what you mean, right? So that's what I'm also doing. But according to Buddhism, desire is the cause of suffering. Buddhism is actually I keep telling, maybe sometime I make bad statements or wrong statements, I don't know. I keep saying if Buddha would have read Bhagavad Gita, he will never start Buddhism. Probably that is the answer. Buddha never read Bhagavad Gita. Because that time printing was not done, probably not that much of marketing was not done. Chinmaya Swami was not there. We don't know whether Buddha took birth first or Shankara took birth first. These are all yet to be proved scientifically. People contradict because Buddhism was spread and then Shankara came and then reinstalled Hinduism. Probably somebody will say. But nowhere Shankara describes about Buddha at all. If such a religious factor was there and then he wanted to reinstall, he would have made some statement somewhere. Because every ruling party makes opposition strong, or opposition party makes ruling party strong by referring so many times. Probably Shankara knows this, therefore he never referred Buddhism also. That's also possible. I don't know whether Shankara was such a great politician who understood the politics of not referring Buddhism. Right? So therefore my conclusion, you will not see this everywhere. This is Dr. TPS conclusion. So what I am saying is, Buddha would not have read Bhagavad Gita, and therefore I think you are all young children, 100 children. You keep on telling this to many people, somebody will object. Then get that fellow to me, we will have an argument. That is how we have to prove things, right? So I am telling to the philosophy department students so that you will become great philosophers in the next few years to come. And you refer this old man. By the time if I am not alive, I'll be there for some more time. Don't worry, another 30 years, guaranteed. And then you will say that no, the Buddha was wrong. I wrote a poetry, the 10 avatars of Bhagavan, in which Buddhist people think that the Vishnu's avatar is Buddha. I keep saying Buddha is not Vishnu's avatar because there are a lot of contradiction between Buddha and Vishnu. Sita, Rama, they are couplet all the time together. Radha, Krishna, they always stayed together. Rukmini also, he did not divorce, kept them together only. So, but Buddha, what he did? To change the world, he divorced his family also. So, definitely Buddha is not an avatar of that category. So, I am sure Buddha did not understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita, the essence of Hinduism. Therefore, he started something else. Those who understand Hinduism will not start any other religion. They will merge into this and then live happily. That's what will happen. Okay? How can you delete negativity from our minds? Come to me, Dr. TPS. Negativity to go, what you should do is keep on talking to people who talks positive. That's what is required. It is not your fate. It is 50% of your character comes from your parents. Most of the parents keep on telling negative. Useless fellow, useless fellow. But then you keep telling, Dr. TPS told, I am not useless, I am useless. Right? People keep saying, no, don't do this, don't do this. Ask them what to do. They will have nothing to say. So there is great way of telling positive and negative differences. That is what is to be done. Good enough? Thank you. God bless you. Inshallah. I'm sure all of you will have a lot of questions. Don't hesitate anytime. I am always with you, Dr. TPS, Shiksha, Hyderabad. 9447437948. My number is again, I'm putting in the chat box if you missed it. Otherwise, go to YouTube and then search. I'm sure you will get Bhagavad Gita sloka by sloka, which I taught in America. People were sitting in front of me, either live or physically. Sloka by sloka, I was chanting, somebody else was repeating. Lot of discussions and arguments and there are people who are sitting in front of me who learned from Chinmaya Swami also. So there are a lot of people who learned, relearned, unlearned, have discussions, because I talk as a modern man who wants to live materialistically and also have spirituality along with the life. That is what is to be understood. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Sir, one thing I would like to ask, as you said, there is no always a desire.
Yeah.
Desire for something.
Yeah.
See, but it's not the question of Buddhism or Jainism or any other philosophy. But when we come to the Samadhi state,
Yeah.
that Asampragyat Samadhi,
Yeah.
so is it a state of desire also?
See,
We said,
there is actually a saying. I have a book of Life Made Simple, in which I wrote that how do you measure samadhi? How do you measure spirituality? What is the scale used? How do you know that you reached Samadhi? Yeah, it is simply possible. Only when your Indriyas are not active, but your Atma is active. How do I check my Atma? My Buddhi doesn't work, that is good enough. My heart doesn't fluctuate, that is good enough. So you take an ECG and EEG, connect well, ask questions to me. If I am answering, who is answering? Neither my Buddhi, because fluctuations are not there in the brain, nor my heart, because no heartbeat is not changing. It is in the state of rest. That state in which you are active is what is called Samadhi. Then only you can test. While sleeping also, your brain will work, your manas also will work. Though you are not in the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. That Sushupti is not Samadhi, understand. Samadhi in which your Indriyas are not active. Your Buddhi is not active. Your Manas is not active. It can only be attained. Therefore, I keep on telling people that teaching meditation is the worst thing somebody can do. I cannot teach you meditation because I cannot control you after you reach into Dharana. After Dharana, Dhyanam is your individualistic approach. You cannot have a group meditation. Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. How can you have a Dhyana? Suppose this lecture is being given, everybody has to have a Dhyanam. What is Dhyanam? Concentration. Concentration is my lecture. Can you tell your friends we will go and sit together and have a concentration to that class? It is individual. So when it reaches into Dhyanam, it becomes individual. And once from Dhyanam you reach into Samadhi, your individuality itself is lost. You are not existing. When you are not existing, how can I measure it? So that is a state in which you doesn't exist. What will exist? Your Atma will exist. For Atma, there is no meditation. Atma is always in meditation. You don't have to give meditation power to Atma. So Atmiya Purusha is one. Atmiya Purusha is one who can reach up to Dharanalayam and slip into Dhyanam and Samadhi. For such people, I have also been experimented or put into EEG, electroencephalograph. Check my brain vibration when I am giving lecture. It doesn't work. Do you think, Dr. Jayanti, I am answering you by thinking, which I have read somewhere and then learned from somebody, is what I am telling you? It is not. It is not what I have learned. It is not what I have read. It is not logically I am making framing sentences by using words. No, it doesn't happen. It just comes. It is anayasena. When you take breath, do you think about taking breath or anayasena shwasam? Shwasam is anayasena. You don't even think that you are taking breath. It just happens. Involuntarily. So similarly, involuntarily, if you can do most of your actions. Yes, involuntarily you can cook. Suppose you are an expert cook, while putting salt, you will not even think. You will just put it. When you are making chapati, are you thinking taking a geometric box in mathematics and then you are taking a round and making it round, or automatically it becomes round? Because you are involuntarily, it happens. While driving, are you thinking about driving? Where is clutch, ABC, accelerator, brake, clutch, and then you are thinking that you are driving? Yes, in the beginning you will have to do it. Once you become an expert driver, what will happen? Involuntarily you will drive. And people keep saying, while going to office you drive, getting back home the vehicle drives you. Actually you are not even thinking that you are going, because automatically you will go. You don't have to know. Your legs are involuntarily taking you to your house. You don't even have to think. So can you do every action in your life so cool you are not even aware of that you are doing it? That action is called Samadhi. Samadhi is not closing your eyes and then sleeping. Samadhi is not at rest. That's why Himalayan meditation, Swami Rama, he is my master. All of you have to read. If you have to go closer to spirituality, the book which you should read is Himalayan Meditation Master Swami Rama's Living with the Himalayan Masters. PDF version is available. Send me a WhatsApp. I will send you that book. Beautiful book. I don't think anybody has written a book closer to that. Somebody else have written later Walking with Himalayan Master as a copy, but that doesn't reach closer to that. So I'm sure when you do that, all your actions become meditative and then you are a meditation master. Otherwise, it's only finance company who is running. People will be meditating. Thousands of people sitting in a row, and then the first row will pay 1 lakh rupees, last row will pay 5,000 rupees, and you can be a great master with a lot of advertisement. Meditation session. Start meditating, end meditating. No start and end meditation. That's why in one of my TEDx lecture, you have to listen if you have not listened to that. I made a mention that it is not half an hour meditating, 23 and a half hour in the life, 24 hours, half an hour meditation, 23 and a half hours suffering. That's not what is required. Half an hour you suffer. And 23 and a half hour either is sleeping or action, be in meditative state. So it's called meditation in action. That is what I propagate. Be active. You will never be tired. No tiredness in you if you love your job. You become tired only when you don't love your job. A dancer can dance 6 hours non-stop. If audience are not there, also they can do it. But if they are not meditatively dancing, they will look at the audience. Some audience are not disturbing. Definitely their dance concentration will go. They will become tired also. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tipu,
Good evening, sir. Good evening, all of you.
Good evening, Sippu. Now your fan should work.
सर आज मुझे लगता है कि मैं सबको धन्यवाद पहले बाद में दूं, पहले मैं आपको कुछ कॉम्प्लीमेंट दूं.
But I am not.
क्योंकि मुझे जो आपको मतलब पिछले 2-3 बार से सुन रही हूँ और आज जो मैंने सडन एक्सपीरियंस या फील किया है वो ये आपका सर जो आर्ग्यूमेंटेटिव पावर है, जो वे ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन है, इज वंडरफुल. और उसके तहत जो चीज बहुत मतलब जिसको कहते हैं हम कि समझ में नहीं आने वाली है, बहुत दुर्लभ चीजें हैं, आसानी से बच्चे जो है हम जैसे लोग को भी समझ नहीं आती, तो ये फर्स्ट ईयर, सेकेंड ईयर और थर्ड ईयर है. तो जो एक आर्ग्यूमेंटेशन है उसके तहत इतना गुड़ विषय है आत्मन. Know the knower is a toughest subject of Indian philosophy. I cannot say only Indian philosophy, मतलब सारी philosophy, Indian, Western, सबको मिला लीजिए आप. ये सबसे मुश्किल काम है समझना. इसको इग्नोर भी नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि हम सब अपने सेल्फ के लिए अवेयर हैं. तो इस टॉपिक को इतने अच्छे से समझना और समझाना सर, ये मुझे लगता है आपके बस की बात है. और सर उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट है मेरा, वो है आपका लुक. सर आपके लुक और आपकी पर्सनालिटी के साथ आई एम वेरी मच इम्प्रेस्ड. और मुझे लगता है हमारे सारे बच्चे जो ग्रेजुएशन के वो सब फैन है आपके. तीसरी बात जो है ये आपकी पर्सनालिटी में सर, अभी आपने बताया कि जो स्पिरिचुअलिटी है और साथ में ये जो मेटलिस्टिक वर्ल्ड है, या सबके साथ एक एडजस्टमेंट, अपने दर्शन का, अपने ज्ञान का, उसके साथ एक बैलेंस लाइफ सर, वो दिखता है, वो रिफ्लेक्ट होता है आपके पर्सनालिटी में. तो ये सब हमारे सबके लिए सीखने की चीज है. तो मैं बहुत दिनों से सोच रही थी कि मैं एक कॉम्प्लीमेंट दूं, पर थोड़ी हिचक थी कि ये आउट ऑफ द हमारे प्रोफेशन हो जाता है, लेकिन मुझे लगा कि जो सत्य है वो सत्य है, अभिव्यक्ति उसकी होनी चाहिए. तो मैंने आज आपको ये कॉम्प्लीमेंट दिया है कि आई एम वेरी मच इम्प्रेस्ड सर विथ योर फ्लो एंड वे ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन, आर्ग्यूमेंटेटिव पावर, योर लुक, योर लिविंग स्टाइल, ऑल ऑफ वंडरफुल सर. और हम हमेशा एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे कि आपको सुनते रहें अलग अलग विषयों पे. और जो ये गीता के रेफरेंस में नो द नोअर है सर, ये बहुत जस्टिफाइड है, क्योंकि इससे बेहतर कोई टेक्स्ट नहीं है जो नो द नोअर को समझा सके. और इसलिए मैं कहती हूँ, और उसमें आपकी जो महारती है, आपके जो श्लोक टिप्स पर हैं और जो आर्गुमेंट टिप्स पे एक्सप्लेनेशन है सर, ये तो जीता है, मतलब आपने जिया है गीता को, वो दिखता है हमें. तो हम मतलब इस कॉम्प्लीमेंट से अभिभूत है सर. आपको क्या धन्यवाद दें, हमारे सारे शब्द छोटे हैं आपके आगे. तो इसलिए अब मेरे पास आज शब्द नहीं है सर. आई एम सॉरी कि मैं आपको धन्यवाद दूं, बस मैं मुरीद हूँ आपकी, इतना कह रही हूँ. हाँ, बाकी सबके साथ मेरे को थोड़ा औपचारिकता निभानी है. मेरे पर ये जिम्मेवारी जयंती दी ने दी है. तो मैं सबसे पहले हमारी जो प्रिंसिपल हैं प्रोफेसर स्वाति पाल को धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि वो हमेशा हमारे साथ होती हैं. हम जिस प्लेटफॉर्म पे मिलते हैं, ये भी कॉलेज का एक प्लेटफॉर्म है, सुरेंद्र सर है जो हमेशा हमारे साथ अभी भी मतलब उनके ऑफिस आवर के बाद भी हमारे साथ रहते हैं, तो हम सबसे पहले अपने ऑफिस को और मैम को धन्यवाद देते हैं। फिर जिनके सौजन्य से ये कार्यक्रम ये आयोजन संभव हुआ है, आईसीपीआर के तहत उनके अध्यक्ष आरसी सिन्हा जी को बहुत बहुत मैं उनका आभार प्रकट करती हूँ। कुमार रत्नन जी आज शायद जयंती दीदी वो आ नहीं पाए, लेकिन फिर भी उनका सहयोग था इस सत्र के लिए, मैं उनको भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देती हूँ। हमारा पूरा विभाग, डॉक्टर रूपलेखा खुल्लर, डॉक्टर सुकन्या कुलकर्णी, हिमांशु जगते, डॉक्टर जयंती जी जो मतलब हम सबको ऐसे आयोजनों के लिए हमेशा प्रेरित करती रहती हैं, सबको साथ लेके बच्चों के साथ कोऑर्डिनेशन करके हमेशा। उनकी व्यस्तता सर मैं आपको सच में क्या बताऊं, कभी पर्सनली मिलूंगी तो अभी वो दूसरी तरफ एफडीपी चल रहा है, तो कहीं एसोसिएशन की मीटिंग चल रहा है और इन सब के बीच वो अरेंज करती हैं ये सब कुछ। तो उन आप सबका विशेष धन्यवाद। सुलग्ना, वेल और उपेंद्र, हम पूरे जो विभाग हैं सबके सहयोग से ये सब संभव हो पाता है। और जो हमारी कोऑर्डिनेटर्स हैं हमारी यूनियन के सिमरन, समीक्षा, काजल और स्वास्तिका, ये सारे बच्चे हैं जो तीनों ईयर के बच्चों को कोऑर्डिनेट करते हैं, उन सबके टाइम टेबल के साथ एडजस्टमेंट करते हैं, उसके बाद कोई आयोजन सफल होता है। तो इन सबके हार्ड वर्क के लिए मेरा दिल से आप सबको धन्यवाद और प्यार। थैंक यू सो मच सर। हम एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि बहुत जल्दी फिर मिलेंगे।
Thank you. Definitely we'll meet sometime soon. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
लास्ट मैं कुछ बोलना चाहती हूँ सर के बारे में। टीपीएस सर जो है वो रियल लिविंग एजेंट है, कि वो इतना काम करते हैं कि मतलब किस फील्ड में उनका नॉलेज नहीं है, मतलब इट्स रियली ऑलवेज गुड टू लिसन टू यू सर। सर एग्रीकल्चर के ऊपर काम करते हैं, पता नहीं कितने बच्चों का वो मेंटर है, कितने बच्चों का लाइफ बनाते हैं। इज ऑलवेज लाइक व्हाट कैन आई से, आपका हिंदी तो बहुत शुद्ध है सीखो, बहुत ही नॉलेज का भंडार।
All of you are welcome. Now I work with one of the biggest resort in Hyderabad with 1,000 acres of land, which is a eco knowledge park. So you look at my activities now, you will see a lot of things coming up on the education front relating with agriculture. So you can all come there and then learn agriculture, live with a ecotourism center where you learn every variety of plants which are available is there available.
डेफिनेटली सर, हम सब जैसे ही ये स्थिति कोरोना की थोड़ी सी वो होती है, सुधरती है, हम सब सबसे पहले एकेडमिक टूर के लिए आपके गुरुकुल आएंगे सर।
Most welcome, most welcome. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for the patient listening.